At the free Indian market, but actually it should be named as the Masters Market, because all of the artists that are exhibiting here really have a legacy to present, and also this is really the finest work that you're going to see in Indian market. This is the originality and the legacy coming together. This is George Toya from Hamas and now Nambe. And maybe George, you can just give us a little bit of your insight on native art.
Um, my take on Indian art is it's an evolving art. It's an evolving process that has happened for hundreds, thousands of years, and at one time, everything was done not to sell, or it was just done. It's just part of the creative process of making things, and it's evolved into this nowadays, it's a. But now there's a big question of Indian art. Indian art. Who determines what Indian art is? The artist or the consumer? And many times it's consumer driven. I think it's a lot of artists will compromise and to satisfy the consumer base, but everybody needs to make a living, so sometimes you have to do that. But there's times when you make something just because it feels good, just because you're driven to do it, and that's my take on Indian art nowadays. It's a process that has started, since the beginning, and this is what it's evolved to, and I really do admire the native artists that continue doing it and keeping the process going, teaching the younger ones that there is a purpose and a reason why we produce these things, and so that's my take on it.
Well, you're now doing all of this art instruction at the Santa Fe Indian Center.
I'm doing some.
What's your take on the young kids that are there?
Well, yesterday,
DigiPaint is the program.
Yes, 2 days ago we had a class, basically, and there was a lot of people that showed up, and some were really young, and we did a painting. I did a sample painting, and everybody did the same thing, and I showed them how to do different things, and some of the younger kids that were there, they really got into it, and it was supposed to be a 2-hour class, but it ended up going into 3.5, almost 4 hours, because everybody was into it, and then they couldn't believe how fast the time passed, and that's the thing with when you really get into something. I also did some classes up in Hamas Pueblo for the Pueblo up there, and I did 3 classes so far up there, and each class had about 20 participants. And the same thing up there. It was supposed to be a 2-hour class. It ended up going to over 4 hours, and so. But people just as they started going, they wanted to add a little more or perfect what they had, and it was really a fun thing to do, worthwhile thing.
Wonderful. Keep it going.
All right, thank you.
Do you have anything to say about some of the paintings?
Well, just kind of, they're based on traditional native motifs and events and everything else that has happened. It's just my own interpretation.